What's up, Brido? Sorry I missed you. Actually, that's not true. I was hoping to get your voicemail. You know, when you call someone while it's ringing, you realize you don't want to actually talk to that person. You just want credit for reaching out. It's a huge relief when you finally get their voicemail. Because now I can just leave any message that's probably never going to be listened to throughout anyway. It's just now an inconvenience on you, you know? It stuffs up your inbox of storage space. I can say anything on here. It's not like you're going to post this online. That would be weird. Anyway, since I have your robot assistant on the line with me here, I might as well talk about the greatest game of my life. Because that would be a normal thing to do. Just a normal voicemail, leaving a message about the greatest game I've ever seen. Anyway, as an enormous, Philadelphia Eagle fan, which you know I am, you would think the last Super Bowl would be the easy choice, but it's not. Because that moment really doesn't seem like reality to me yet. You know, actually winning a Super Bowl was amazing, but it was also very frightening, you know, for Philly fans. Our essence is of hatred and vile negativity. That all got rocked to the core when we were forced to feel joy. It was very weird. We enjoy pain, and after that, now we have to walk around this world wondering, will we ever be able to experience in true misery ever again? It's very scary. Although, side note, my favorite play from that Super Bowl wasn't the Philly special or the Brandon Graham strip sack. It was when Tom Brady went out for a pass, looking like a cross between one of those old school zombies from Night of the Dead, you know, the Romero types that are all slow, and an adult Pinocchio doll. Just dropping the pass. I think he actually decided to drop it 5 steps into that 15-yard marathon of a pass route just to spite Bill Belichick for calling that play. Because fuck him. I'm Tom Brady. I don't do that shit. Get one of those other short 5'11" white wide receivers that are disposable to do this. Nope. Instead, Brido, the greatest game I ever saw, which culminated everything it was to be a painful Philly fan and to realize the inevitability of our destiny, was the 2002 NFC Championship game between the Philadelphia Eagles and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. It was right in the middle of their 4 consecutive NFC Championship appearances, which we all lost, except for the last one with T.O. But we never really had a chance in the one before that. It was versus the Rams. We were kind of lucky to be there. They were better than us. But this one was going to be ours. This one lined up. We were actually excited. We thought we were going to win this one. It was like, I don't know, everything was lined up. It was the last game at the Veterans Stadium. That famed, infamous, fucking horrible stadium. The place that had a prison in its bowels, which we would prosecute and put away. Drunken fans that were fighting inside the stadium. The turf was like cement. It was awful. It famously ruined the career of a Bears wide receiver, Wendell Davis. He blew out both knees on the same play. The left one going up and the right one going down. It was just an absolutely terrible place. Plus, we were playing Tampa Bay, and they haven't won a game in temperature below 40 degrees in 35 consecutive times. I mean, granted, a lot of them were from the 70s. Tampa Bay was only good for a couple of years. But anyway, they're coming to the vet, and the end of January, it's going to be freezing. They weren't going to win. We were actually, for some reason, we were excited. We knew we were going to win this game. Like, the city was all lit in green, the bridges, the Walt Whitman, the Ben Franklin, even the Betsy Ross. Just like green lights all on it. William Penn statue was wearing a Hugh Douglas jersey. This was going to happen. Plus, Tampa Bay was the worst, too. They had so many hateable characters. John Gruden was their coach, who was our old offensive coordinator, who loved starting terrible quarterbacks, especially for us. They had to have the last name Detmer. Ty Detmer, Coy Detmer. We didn't even know Ty Detmer had a brother, but he found him. And next thing you know, he's running our offense. And Bobby Hoying. It was unbelievable. That's why he found his new terrible quarterback, some pockmarked fucking storch named Brad Johnson. He was hateable. Keyshawn Johnson was the receiver, say no more there. Warren Sapp, who's just a horrible human being who berates servers, and he's just awful. Even our likable players like Mike Allstott and Rondé Barber were unbearable because everyone just loved them. It's all they talked about. The Barber twins was like all you heard about back then too. Like way back when, far ago obviously. This is when Tiki Barber was a media darling before he cheated on his pregnant wife with a white college girl. So we were all set. Everyone's drunk. It's a 4 o'clock start. We haven't had one of those in a while because the law wouldn't allow it. So everyone's kind of hammered, but it's cold. The vet is rocking and falling apart. Opening kickoff. Brian Mitchell, NFL all-time return leader, breaks it loose, almost to the house, tackled at the 25, returns it 70 yards. Place is going nuts. 2 plays later, Deuce Staley runs it in from the 20, and we are up 7-0, and we are Super Bowl bound. It's simply just too cold for them, you know? That's what we're saying to each other. They can't do it. It's too cold. We're going to win this 45-0. These professional athletes can't play in cold weather. I'm sure they're all born and raised in Tampa Bay. That's how professional sports works, right? So we're riding. We're doing good. They drive down. They got a field goal, 7-3, no big deal. A couple punts back and forth. Then Bobby Taylor gets a pick in Tampa territory, and we're ready to blow them out. We got a 4th down all the way down to the 32. And this is where it turned. This is where Andy Reid begins his legacy as the worst playoff coach this side of Schottenheimer. He decides to punt the ball and sit on a 4-point lead with over 3 quarters to go. He literally said that. He's going to play conservative because we were up 7-3. So we punt the ball, and just like that, the feeling just started to change. Everyone just realized then, oh, right, we don't win these things. We boo and we hate ourselves. That's what we do. This isn't a celebration of the vet. This is a funeral. Tampa immediately drove 95 yards for a touchdown, including a 70-yard bomb to Joe fucking Jaravicious, another hateable buck, a white wide receiver who didn't even have the decency to be a possession guy. You know, he grew up wearing fucking skids and Cavaricis in some asshole town in Ohio. I remember Jaravicious had like a tragically sick child, and someone in our section, while he was like racing down the sideline, screamed very ill wishes towards that kid. The kind of thing where even fellow Eagle fans were like, come on, man, that's Jesus Christ, dude, that's a bit much. But also, you know, I get it. We're not going to judge you on that. So after they went up, then there was just that feeling like, okay, this is the way it's going to be for another 2.5 hours. This will be good. The rest of the game was just all of us trapped in this inevitable darkness that was the vet and our souls. McNabb spent the entire second half just throwing 80-mile-an-hour ankle balls into the vet cement. I realized then that, man, I wasted my entire 20s on Donovan McNabb. I really believed in him. The Black Parade finally ended when McNabb threw a 92-yard pick six to Rondé Barber during our last false hope of a drive. Barber took about 45 seconds to return it all the way back and score. He like Tecmo Bowl zigzagged his way all the way down the field just so he can enjoy all of the misery and pain that was in the air. Tampa Bay won 27-10, and we all filed out, cold in the darkness. I thought I'd see more like rage and violence because that's what I was used to in any Eagles games. Seats being ripped out, especially since it's the last game for the vet, but it was odd. People were just like content and defeated. Like to say, leave this fucking dump as it is and burn it to hell. On a personal note, the next Monday morning, me and the family had to drive to the hospital at 5 a.m. for my mom's scheduled breast cancer surgery. It was very scary. It seemed like we were the only ones awake too, because the city was just trash and nobody was in a hurry to clean it up. All the green lights from the bridges were out. Like 2 of them were like barely flickering. The William Penn statue took like a header off Independence Hall. Death was certainly in the air. The hospital was no better either. All the nurses were depressed. The newspapers were lied out. The doctor was depressed. He was barely even talking about the surgery to us. He just wanted to talk about the game. He just couldn't believe the game. We'd like snap him out of it. We're like, hey, Doc, you gonna be all right here? I mean, I know it was a rough one yesterday, but, you know, let's get our head back here on Monday here. We got to, you know, snip up the old moms here. He's like, yeah, I know. I'll do my job, but what's the point, really? You can fight cancer, but you can't beat it. It'll come back. And you certainly can't beat cancer by punting the fucking ball from the 30 when you got David Akers as your kicker. Yep. Truer words were never spoken by that doctor. That game clarified everything in life, that we can't run from our destiny. That is why this is the greatest game I ever saw. All right, Brian, I'll catch you later. I'll save my Super Bowl 52 story for my one allotted phone call next time I'm in jail. Talk to you later.